Well, hello, brothers, and happy New Year, new day. We have a new president and vice president in office, and it makes me so very hopeful. Um, I haven't shared in a while because actually I've gone through a big struggle. Um, I actually didn't want to share a lot um, about this because I don't really think about it a lot, very seldom. But um, what happened on the 6th of January, the insurrectionists, the racist bigots, um, it pulled the scabs off of some scars, some wounds that have long been healed. And I was just not only in shock, but felt like I was just stuck in a place emotionally. Um, I think I've said before, I grew up in the 60s and 70s, and I have experienced a lot of hate and bigotry and rejection and all of those things back then. And in my mind, I thought that a lot of it had been put away because we've had a lot of legislation and things passed, and it seems like the world is quite a bit different now than it was back then. But when those people marched and when they carried the Confederate flag and everything, it just it tore me apart. And the thing that hurt the most was that when people were marching for Black Lives Matter, they were beaten and gassed and um, treated so poorly by the police. And here were people who not only were marching and protesting, they were rioting. They had guns and all of these things. And it seemed like the police was just letting them do whatever they wanted to do. Yeah, they were outnumbered, but um, there's no reason that they should have been outnumbered, number one. And number two, to say, please move, please stop, please leave, and all of these things. And I just feel like if they were blacks or people of color, or even people who marched with and supported the Black Lives Matter movement or movement for equality and justice, they would not have been treated that way. And it gave me flashbacks of when I was a kid and a lot of the things that happened. And it even made me think back beyond that. Um, I'm fascinated with history. I love history, even though some of it really affects me um, in a very painful way, but I still love it. Thinking back on um, the slaves that were brought here by force, and at some point they were hired to help build the White House. And the money went to the slave owners, not to the slaves, mind you, but to the slave owners. And then sometime later, as the nation was getting all organized and everything, there is what was called a three-fifth compromise, part of the Constitution, it was. And the slaves didn't even count as a whole person, they counted as three-fifths of a person. You should go back and read it if you haven't read about it. And then after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed and there was freedom for the slaves, There was so much trickery and so much um, illegal things that were done against that with no repercussions at all to those who were inflicting these limits and hatred upon the slaves who had been free. I mean, it even went so much as to with the Jim Crow laws, they told you where you could go and when, um, who to marry, where to live. You couldn't even decide where to live. And I think that's where a lot of our communities that are, you see a very different social aspect, economic aspect that's different from the whites. You see it in our communities. And it goes way back to those times when you were told where to live. You had to make up your life the best way that you could. Anyways, all of those things made me feel less than. And I've tried so much of my life to live my life so that I could show that I was more than, not less than. I started learning languages, and right now I'm fluent in 3 languages and I speak about 5. And I started that just to show, you know what? I'm not less than. I'm more than. How many languages do you speak? I worked hard. The only person in my family that um, went to college and finished. But I did that because I wanted to show that I am not less than. I'm equal and perhaps more than. And all of these things also made me wonder. I have whites in my family, and they are family. My daughter married a white guy, and his name is Ives, and he is Ives. He's not my white son-in-law or white Ives. He's Ives. And one of my cousins married a white guy, and his name is Michael. They're all family to me. And it makes my life so much better that I have people that are different in my life because it calls for me to love all people. But I wondered, again, from the election in November where the people were rejecting and wanting to put down the votes from predominantly black counties. If they wanted to declare it illegal, why not just declare the whole election illegal? No, the ones that he won, oh, that was legal, that was fair. But the ones where he didn't win, oh, that had to be fraudulent. Again, saying that we don't matter, that our voice doesn't matter. And I wondered what to tell my grandkids who are biracial. I said along a lot, don't hate. There are people that may not like you, but don't hate. And my nephews who are white, that I have not said, but perhaps I should. There are people who will look at you just because you hang with me or your dad, and they will give you the same treatment that they give to us. So be careful. I don't know. I still haven't figured out what to say. But what I will say is that I'm reminded that hate and bigotry and racism is prevalent more than I would ever have believed in our world. But now let me get to the positive side. Some of you may even have family members who are either a part of those groups or who agree with and or support those groups. Let me say to you, they don't define you. They do not define you. You're not a part of the groups. You don't believe it. You don't purport it. You purport love and equality for everyone. So don't let them define you. Look deep inside and pull up the good that is there and let it shine everywhere you go. Let it shine, because there's some people who won't be convinced by what you say. They'll argue you down, but they cannot deny the example that you put forth. And do it. Do it proudly and do it loudly. And if they don't understand and they don't accept it, oh well, that's on them, not on you. I have family members that are very religious that they love me. They say they do, and I believe them. But when it comes to my sexual orientation, nope, I'm less than. I'm not as good as they are because, oh, I'm homosexual. Well, they don't define me either. They don't define me. And I just let my love shine stronger and stronger, and they cannot argue with that. It puts to rest everything that they thought in their minds, and they cannot figure it out. It's okay. It's on them. I was thinking about the chorale a few days ago, and the question came up inside of me. When you think of the chorale, what word comes to mind? The first word that came to my mind was home. Home. And then as I thought more, the next word that came to mind was family. And then later, a safe place. That's what I have. You see me as Lonnie, not as Black Lonnie, that black guy, that little short black guy. No, you see me as Lonnie. And you love me as Lonnie. And our great director loves us all. And he makes sure, he goes out of his way to make sure that we have a voice and that we have a place. We, the people who of color who have not been given that in a lot of places. But he makes sure that we have a voice and a place, and he helps to tell our story. And so do many of you with your posts and with your words. You make sure that we are counted and that we have a place at the table. Do you know how much that makes me feel? How good that makes me feel. How blessed that makes me feel. And I say me because I can't speak for others, but I know that when we are seen and heard, and when we are accepted and respected for who we are, that means a lot. Thank you for that. Thank you. And where do we go from here? Well, we keep on singing. We keep on singing. We keep on building bridges. We keep on letting the world know this is the real world. It's not one race, and it's not this or that. This is what it is, and this is what we are about. And we sing it loud and proud. And when the time comes to make your voice count at the ballot, make it count proudly and don't be ashamed about it. And when the doors open for you to tell your story and for you to share your voice and your experience, share it loudly and proudly. And when the time comes for you to sing your song, sing it and let it soar to the heavens, because there is beauty in you and there's beauty in me. And with this love that we have and determination that all men are created equal and there is liberty and justice for all, we will overcome. We will overcome. I love you. I'm sorry that it's taken a long time, this video, but I wanted to share my heart with you. And I encourage you to love yourself and be the best that you can be in every moment, and know that they cannot destroy you. They cannot destroy it. And know that you have a safe place in the Turtle Creek Corral, that you are loved and accepted. And so if you are needing love right now, reach out. Reach out and know that you will get a response of love. Have a wonderful day.